Welcome to our today's podcast and YouTube video. You will be able to see us on YouTube and to hear us on podcast as well. My guest of today is Dr. Cornelia Cavan. I will read even so that I'm sure that I didn't make any mistakes when presenting you.
No
so
mistakes.
Dr. Cornelia Cavan is an award-winning scientist and electrical engineer who has transitioned into a personal energy strategist. She specializes in guiding busy businesswomen to effectively manage their personal energy, enabling them to lead the lives they desire. And your examples in the book you wrote really show this, how you did it. Your book, Change Your Energy, Change Your Life, offers a transformative guide for individuals aiming to elevate their personal and professional lives by mastering their personal energy management. So, and when you look at the personal energy management, do you think there is a relationship to wealth, the topic that we will discuss and paint today?
Thank you, Oxana, for having me. It's an honor being here.
And thank you for coming.
I'm a big fan of your neurographic paintings and methods and how you can change things by painting. So now for my approach is just everything is energy. Mm-hmm. So in a way, money and also wealth, or abundance, it just has a certain frequency and it has a certain energy. And the goal in a way is, if you want to have more wealth or more money in your life, you just need to kind of shift your energy and your frequency. So it's kind of in synchronicity with what you want to achieve, and then you are ready to energetically hold it. So I think there is a lot, as everything is energy anyway. So also wealth and money is energy, and that's why I think it's a great topic to paint today, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Super. So let me update a little bit what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of questions from you guys, and I think it's wonderful. So I hope you are prepared to answer all of this and to have an interesting discussion about the wealth. And I propose that we paint, and while we are painting, we are just discussing the questions that we have received. And for those of us who want to paint with us, I propose that you take a piece of paper. You take your, let me give you, see, I prepare, but not always everything. Here is a pencil for you to write the words.
Oh, yeah.
So that it doesn't,
thank you,
see on the other side. Okay, so
it's the orange one. Love it.
Love it. Okay, nice red.
Energy is orange.
Energy is orange.
And red, right? It's power.
So it's power.
So we are really you picked the right ones.
You see, everything goes instinctively,
is in line,
yeah. The topic we are painting today is wealth. So I propose we write the word wealth in the middle, on the top of the page. For those of you who are speaking other languages, you just write the word wealth in your language. Okay. I also propose to write today's date. It's 4th of May. So that we know when we started to paint this topic. And I have to tell you, in order to have better results, it is very well to paint at least 5 paintings on the same topic. So up to 5 topics, you will of course get results from the first topic as well, from the first painting as well. But the more you paint, as Mr. Piskarov, the inventor of the methodology, says, if you didn't paint 40 paintings on the topic you want, you just cannot complain that you didn't realize. So for me, until now, wasn't necessary to paint 40 paintings, but if the problem is big, like if you, I don't know, you cannot get pregnant, or if you have another complicated situation, you're in debt or something like this, or you are sick, then it is really advisable that you paint more than 10 paintings.
But I can relate to that also from the energy perspective, because I see it more, and I'm quite sure you have heard this picture before or seen this recommendation before. It's like an onion, right? So it's the same with energy work. So you peel like the first layer, and you can only work, and I think it's the same with the painting. You can only work on until this depth the person is able to look into it and able to let go. And then it needs some time to make the energy shift again, and then you can do the next layer. And I think it's probably the same process here. Yeah, so I'm working the same way.
Yeah, because we have all layers, as you correctly say, of beliefs, of negative beliefs, of experiences, of different negative fears also, but we'll talk about it while painting.
Excellent.
Can you put 2 minutes? So for those who are painting with us, we are writing now at least 20 words in 2 minutes. So the words can be anything you want. It can be nouns, it can be verbs, and it can be adjectives, everything. You can write pronouns like me and so on. And we write on the whole page. So we don't write in column, but you write on the whole page these 20 words. So ready?
Okay,
Just
let's start. Yeah. So half a minute.
Wow.
Okay, so we're done.
Great. So now we can count the words to see if we have at least 20 words. So I have 31. That's great.
I have 22.
Perfect. And we will underline with whichever color we want the words that are particularly interesting for us, that we want to work with. So I want to, and I'll say what I want to work with. The health, for instance, because this is for me well. Then energy, and I would love to.
And how many?
How many you want?
Okay.
Realization for me, it's important. Money, it's important. Income and stability. So you underline for you which words are important to you and with which words you are willing to work today. Of course, we will activate all the words, all the neurons today, but the most important, we can put an accent on it.
Okay.
Now we're turning the page, taking the preferred. Maybe I'll give you some paper to put underneath.
Thank you.
For any case, I'll do the same thing. Okay. And now we will write circles. You look at the words you have written and you do circles. You can do from 5 up to 9 circles.
Okay, so I have 9 words.
Exactly, great. Then you can do all 9. So this one will
and
be
with
for
each
help.
circle, then I think about this word, or?
Exactly. You can name this word, or if you don't have 9 or 5 words, then you just can make a circle without a name. Important is that the circles are closed. Exactly, they have to be closed.
And can they, cross each other?
Exactly, they can cross each other, but you don't do like this.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. Great, really great. And now we are doing neurographic lines. So we always take it from one side to the other side of the page. And please look that all the circles that you have painted are covered with neurographic lines. You can do it from bottom to up or from up to bottom.
So not from the side is okay as well?
Yes, okay, of course. From one part of the sheet to the other part of the sheet. Doesn't matter. The more lines, the better. This is the rule in neurography, so don't spare here the lines. Exactly. And now we started with the most interesting part. We are rounding, but which requires the most intensive work. So while we will be rounding, I propose I will start with the first question, and while we will be rounding, you will just answer the questions. And for those who are painting with us, I'll just show a small, it's a piece. So how do we round? Whenever 2 lines are crossing, we have 4 corners, and we just round from inside out in order to have like a circle. This is how we round. So
Very cool.
Cornelia, I'll come back to my list of questions that I got.
Okay, just start rounding.
Exactly, and you just start rounding. Yeah. So wealth is often defined in material or financial terms like money, assets, abundance, and so on. And when you hear the word wealth, what do you feel first? Is it joy or is it pressure, and why?
Oh, for me, it's joy.
Joy.
Yes, it's such a positive energy and high frequency, and yeah, it's something positive for me to be wealthy and to feel wealthy and have wealth around. And as you're saying, it's not just about material things. Of course, now we're living in the world where you need money. There's we all know that. But I think if you really feel wealthy, then other things count more. Like you already mentioned, like being really healthy, fit, vital, and dynamic.
Energetic.
Yeah, and and I think and to have I always see it like that's what I call it. It's like high energy people. When you're only have low energy, then in a way you're in survival mode, and then days they look gray and repetitive, and when I noticed when I had starting more and more energy, then that was kind of the real wealth for me to have all the energy and then you see so many opportunities and solutions, and that's what I perceive is makes life so much easier because we can't change life, right? So there will be always challenges, but with more energy I noticed it's easier to manage them. You're more resilient, and whatever has come, there are some dips and there are probably some holes you're falling into, but you have all the tools and you know how to get out of it quickly. And I think that's for me in a way wealth, to having this yes.
So it's not about only money for your wealth, because
No.
when you have a zero on your bank account and you cannot think about wealth like in a positive way. Or how do you see this point of view?
I think it's so much more, and if you really speak with people that are happy and lucky, these are people, they don't have maybe so many material things, but I just read an article about it, and this is that when you ask people, what really counted in their life, and I think that's what it's up in the end, is loving relationships. Because this is the only thing that really counts, that you have people around you that love you, you can love, they are supporting you, and you can support them, and you can count on them. And I think that's probably the goal, that to at the end that there is somebody there for you, and you can be there for others. That's for me, I think, most important part.
With wealth. Okay. I totally agree. I recently was on a cooking workshop in Ikaria.
Oh, wow, very cool.
And this is really a poor island. But what you said, the people there are so welcoming, and out of this poorness, they learned how to cook in a way that they live longer. So the average years they live is about 102
Oh,
years
wow.
old. And when I ask, what do you do, and how do you keep your wealth, and they said it's about cooking, how the way we cook. And the family where I lived and where I learned to cook, they haven't been to the doctor for 40 years.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? No
No.
pills, 40 years, nothing. And I was so, wow.
Yeah, this is real wealth, right?
And they told about this socializing, being together, eating together, family feeling, and you don't need money for that. And this is that abundance, this wealth. And I am so blessed to be able to see that again, to understand that wealth is not all about material things and about money.
It can make life easier, but it's definitely, yeah. But
especially today, right? Without money, you cannot live, actually.
Yeah, because then you're studying, getting worried, and then it's very difficult. So I think you need to have kind of a certain minimum, and this minimum is different for everybody, and then develop then from there. Just that you feel safe, and
Yes.
then you can
go further.
elaborate on the other things. Yeah, but I'm so glad you could experience that and talk to these people. Wow, it's so powerful.
It was an experience. I can still having it in my mind, and my kid is always saying when we are going back. So it was so open people, so and the food I cannot express. It's really
There's
great.
so much love in the food, different energy.
Exactly.
Yes, I can feel that.
Back to the question: how does managing one's personal energy influence financial prosperity?
I think this is a very good question. And in my world of energy, there are different. There is not one energy. So I see that there are different layers of energy. Like what you just mentioned before, it's definitely one part. It's food. It's the physical energy. So what are you putting in your body, because it also has an impact on your physical energy. And that, of course, is the most essential one, because if you feel miserable, it's very difficult then to work on other layers. And then I noticed in my work that there are other layers, like the energetic layer, that we have like this chakras and connecting, that we have this energy body around us, so that we work with this energy body. And then there, of course, then is an emotional energy, where we store emotions, and we work from there. And then there we have the mental energy, which is limiting beliefs, drivers, and all that stuff that can be stored there as well. And then last but not least, there is the spiritual energy. And of course, now many people are saying, spiritual, and then they will roll their eyes. But I think actually it's the most essential one, because it's, for me, spiritual energy is that you know why you're doing. It's your why you're here, what's your mission, what you really want to bring and share, bring into the world and share with other people. And what I've noticed, the more you know, or the more you're doing what you really love, the more energy you're producing yourself. It's kind of you're starting this internal
So you're
power plant.
your own generator, right?
You're generating your own energy, and that's why it's probably the most sustainable and the most important energy. So that's why. And so what it does have to do with wealth, coming back to your question, and of course, all these layers, they have different impact on wealth and how much money we are having, because there are things stored in these different energies, like emotions, when you think, or when you, how do you feel about wealth? Just as you said at the beginning, just about wealth, how does your body react, right?
Exactly.
Do you feel positive about it? Do you know, kind of your stomach is cramping, or you're hunching your shoulders, whatever? It already shows how you feel about it. And then the second thing is also, how do you think about it, right? Most of the time you're not even aware, because that's just the way we grew up, and our family spoke and reacted on wealth. Was it good? Was it bad? Was there enough money, or not even? Was there enough love, right? So how were you treated? How was your whole family approach? So this all has an impact, because we learned that and stored it in our system. And this is okay, because but it's just the way, if you want to have different results,
You have to do something different.
you need to work on these, to remove things, and clear out things, to open up the space for other thoughts, other emotions, other feelings. So you're not stuck with that what you're having right now, and that's why we're kind of painting this here, because with this we are removing things, we let go things, and it's the same with energy work. You just pull out these frequencies you don't want to have anymore in your system, and put new thoughts, beliefs, and emotions in it, and that's where the shift happens.
And in your book, you advise to start, of course, with physical energy because it's the basics. When you are sick, you cannot think about wealth.
It's difficult. It's difficult. Yeah.
And when you are in hospital, it's the same thing. So you have to first have a good health, or at least take care of your body, so that it can help you produce more energy.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's always, they're all intertwined and connected. That's what
Okay.
I noticed. But I think it's easier when you're healthy. But of course, just because you're not healthy, it doesn't mean that you can't
You
work
don't.
on the other layers. But because maybe they are connected because of some thoughts,
You are
you're
sick.
sick. Yeah. So it's definitely, I think you can't separate it, and it's just maybe because you're sick, more and more people then start looking in certain areas, or and this kind of the point to start, right? But you can do it already before, right? If when you get impulses, or you want to change something, you don't need to be sick to work on your energy.
Yeah, but this is the point also Louise Hay, and I think Georgia Spencer says that you only when you get sick, but really sick, you start to ask yourself why.
Exactly.
And then it starts your like personal development.
But yeah, that's the hard way.
That's
But
the hard way, exactly.
but there are easier ways to apply and work on it before. So you don't have to be sick to, but most people start then. Yeah.
Start there.
Yeah.
Um,
So what was why did you start with neurographic painting?
I started with the neurographic painting because I visited a workshop. It was a webinar between a neurologist, a neurographist, and between a therapy.
Therapist,
Like
yeah.
therapist. It's I don't know how to explain it. A kind of psychotherapist. So while we were hearing about our numbers and what it is with our psychology to do, we were painting wealth, money.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I did it just for fun because I like to paint, and because I like the other two they were telling about. And in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I really got that amount of money I did paint. And I said, okay, I have to know more about it.
Oh, very cool.
And I started to research how can I get a course, where can I find it? And after finding out that it's a Russian doctor, scientist who invented neurography, I said, wow, why don't I do it directly at his institute? And this is what I did. I researched and I got enrolled in his
Oh wow, what a story.
in his course. I always go to the roots. It's like with cooking course I told you about just before. Last year, I don't know, did you see the documentary Blue Zones?
No, but I read some articles about the Blue Zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I watched the movie and I said, I have to see what is the secret behind this longevity issue. How can people live longer? And when you put the intention that the universe helps you. And at one of the meetings from Ladies Drive, I met a woman from Athens who visited Ikaria already, and she gave me the contact data.
Oh wow.
So I wrote a message via Instagram to this winery that she recommended, and they even answered. And it appeared that this was exactly the family that was in the movie.
Oh wow, very cool.
And I was astonished that they even replied. And I could get a spot because it was already all overbooked. So I booked in January to my birthday. It was my birthday gift. And now in Easter, we went to this cooking workshop.
Oh, wow. And how long did you stay there?
2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was really, really amazing. And I definitely recommend to do it because it's an experience. You see a different way of life, and you start to analyze wealth from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So it changes definitely your view.
Very powerful.
I would like to go on with the questions
Mm-hmm.
about energy blocks. What common energy blocks do individuals face that hinder wealth accumulation? How do you think?
I think, as I said before, it's probably mainly. I think there is not one. There are, most of the time, what I notice, there are so many, and
So
it's
these layers you are telling
yeah.
about.
But what I noticed with my work is you just can't look at each of these beliefs and emotions individually. So you need to work on kind of in blocks, right? Because it's just too many. And so I can't say, because my work is not about the details. So I don't want to know. I don't need to know exactly what's the limiting belief, right? Most of the time it's important to look into it, because when it's a very strong or very limiting belief, then it's good for the person to realize, okay, that's my limiting belief, and then we really check it, and then we work on it, remove everything that's connected with it. And this can be like energetic arrangements, and an energetic arrangement is kind of like, even as a kid, sometimes we do promises, oaths, or whatever, and we can't even remember, but energetically they're still there, right? And so we work on those. We take a lot of from our ancestors, not only from our parents, but also grand, and sometimes, like, I had just recently had a case there where we went back 14 generations, right?
14.
Yeah.
Wow.
And solve the issue there, and then you heal it in the whole ancestor line, right? And this is then very, very powerful. And most of the time it's a mix, right? And then you look into the emotions. Sometimes there's some painful situations, but we don't go directly or in detail into the situation. It's just about looking at the pain and then let it go. And you don't even need to feel it, but it's more about being aware, okay, there is pain, and then let it go. And then we just look at all these different aspects. It's a lot about forgiving, right? And acknowledging or taking on responsibilities when you did something wrong. So it's always a mix. So there is not one. Of course, there are a lot of limiting beliefs around. We get on from our parents, and so my parents were a lot in money saving. So I learned you always have to save money and not to spend it, and it's just the way how you grew up, right? But I think in a way it doesn't matter, because what I've noticed, and that's why I withdraw from looking into details, is that most when you really heal it and release everything in a certain aspect, people can't even remember that limiting belief anymore. It's just, and everything associated with it, it's gone, and there is no emotion connected to it. So it's not triggering. It just doesn't have any impact on you anymore. And that's why I think it's just about letting it go, and then work from there until there is the next layer.
It resonates with me when you said that when you heal that limiting belief, you doesn't even remember it.
Yeah.
I was in the whole process of my personal growth. I have so many beliefs that I worked on, and many of them I didn't even remember. But I know that sometime they were there, because when I hear people talking about that, I said, "Oh, okay, That's interesting, but it doesn't trigger me anymore.
Exactly. And then you know it's gone, right? And then sometimes it takes longer, and sometimes it's done with one session. It really depends what's all connected with it. And that's what I think is so powerful, because when you're really doing like a mindset work, you only you take this limiting belief, and then you put a positive belief on top of it, and then you have to remember this new belief for 24 21 days or 30 days. And I found it so hard, and it takes so long, and then you forget one day, and then you have to start all over again. And I thought there need to be a better and easier and faster way. We can't look at each limiting belief and then things and hope things are going to change, right, with just changing one belief. And so that's why I developed my methods in not looking into details, but just say, now we're working on all these beliefs connected now to this topic, and then we just install all these, activate all these beliefs you need now to move closer to your goals. And that's what I think is, for me, it's more sustainable, because what mindset work, in a way, you're only overwriting this belief. But for me, as an engineer, it's so much more interesting. Why is this limiting belief, or why is this in my life in the first place? And go there and go to the root cause and heal that. And then everything associated with it, then if you really find the root cause, it just disappears, right? And you just can't even remember sometimes, or as you said, it doesn't trigger you anymore. And that's why I think it's so powerful.
I absolutely agree. You write in your book about that negative emotions are stored in our body energetically. Can you tell more about it?
Yes, I think that, what I experienced is, and or as a kid, at least myself, and I think many others as well, we never learned how to deal with emotions.
We were not allowed.
We were not even allowed. You were not allowed to be loud. You were not allowed to scream or whatever, or be angry.
Exactly.
You always need to be this nice, especially girls, nice, pleasant, always easy to handle girls. And so I never learned to deal with my emotions, and I even thought emotions are something really bad and dangerous. And then of course you try to avoid having even emotions. But of course you can't, if things happening, then, there is this panic or fear or whatever rushing through you, or this anger, and you have no clue how to handle it, because nobody told you, right? And what happens if it's so big, you don't know how to deal with it, and then you just hang on to it, right? And then it's getting bigger, like same with sadness, whatever. Because normally, if you take yourself out of the situation, of course, as a kid you can't, because nobody tells you. But now, as an adult, if an emotion or fear or whatever is coming, and you take yourself out of the situation, it's not easy, but you practice and be an observer, then this emotion just rush through, and don't stay longer than 90 seconds. And the problem is, if you hang on to them because you think it's too big, or you don't know how to deal with them, then they stay in your system. And it's like this emotion, just comes into your body and wants to flow through your system. And then all of a sudden you catch it, and then store it in a dark box somewhere in your system. And then this poor emotion just is caught up there in the prison, right? And of course they want to get out, right? You would do the same. And that's why then, when you're storing more and more emotions, they're kind of disturbing the natural energy flow in your system. And that's why you can get pain, or you can even get sick or whatever. And because there are too many stored emotions. And that's why it's so positive to let free them, right? They just
allow yourself.
They don't belong to you. You are not your emotions, you're having them. And if you're having them, you can decide now and let them go. And it's a decision.
At the end of the day, it's just a decision. It's a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice. Yeah.
You choose not to be angry anymore, or you choose to allow yourself to be angry for half an hour. here is a good tip for you. I learned it somewhere inside some trainings. You can allow yourself to be sad. You put the clock for 2 hours and you say, okay, allow myself to be 2 hours sad. And after the clock rings again, so okay, now I'm going to do something else.
Exactly. Then you had your share of that for today. But you can even, reduce it to 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, right? It's up to you how long you want to be in this state. As you said, it's a decision. And it's just an emotion. It's just a frequency that helped me so much. It's nothing bad, or because we want to have joy and its frequency as well. And why is joy so much better? It's just a frequency.
Yeah.
And if you want to have more joy, then, and of course things happen when you get angry or whatever, and then you look at it and say, okay, now I'm angry. I'm supposed to be angry. I feel angry, and now it's over. And so you don't have to stay there forever.
I would like to ask you something very personal because I lived in it, and I would like your opinion. When I was married to my husband, he was an alcoholic. And I remember that everywhere I went, I saw only alcoholic people in the streets and somewhere. Even when we divorced, I also saw everywhere this kind of persons on the street. And it was so difficult for me to accept that. And then in a training, I learned that when you change your frequency, and when you're on another frequency, then you don't see these people anymore. So I worked so hard on this to get out of this frequency, and it's true. After that, I never saw, until today, I didn't see any alcoholic people around me or even come to me or on my way somewhere. Even if I travel a lot, I don't see alcoholic people anymore, and I don't have it in my
in your field
anymore. In the field anymore. Yeah. So then it's true. So if you change your frequency, and for instance, for those who for robbers, for killers, right? If they are on a lower frequency as you, so when they are passing next to you, you don't see them and they don't see you. Is it that possible? Because you are a different frequency.
I experience it the way, because I never have drunk people in my life. Yeah, it was just never in my field, so I can completely relate. But of course, I have other things in my life. Yeah, and that's what I see. There are two things. Of course, everybody knows from Tony Robbins, but actually it's not even from him. But I forgot the name. Who was the originator from this?
Jim Rohn, maybe the mentor of Tony Robbins.
No.
Jim Rohn.
I don't know. It doesn't cross my mind. Maybe it pops up afterwards. And energy flows where attention goes. So where you put your focus on, then all of a sudden you see all these things. And I remember, like, when I was pregnant, I never even noticed that there were pregnant women or babies around me, and all of a sudden they were all over the place. It's the same. Or you want to buy a yellow car, right? Or a certain brand, and all of a sudden you only see these brands. And it's just because you set your focus on it. And of course your brain always wants to deliver results, right? And if you say, I want to buy that, or I want to be in this thing, then you can, of course, consciously decide, I want to buy this car, and then your brain delivers you, here's this car, and have you seen this car? And and then you open the newspaper, and this car, on sale or whatever. It's your brain is guiding you. And on the other side, of course, it's the same with our subconsciousness. If we have this very strong belief, life is full of drunk people or whatever, or I need to support drunk people, and if this in your subconsciousness, then of course your brain always looking where are drunk people, and they're bringing it into your life. And that's what I'm saying, and I think this is very hard, and most people don't like it, and I don't like it all the time either. It's in the way everything and everybody is in your life because of you. It has something to do with you, the way you, even not consciously, think, feel, or you attract these frequencies and these energies until you change them. And so if there are continuously like men in your life or I don't know, friends, or you have to work hard. You always get a job where you work like 60 or 70 hours. If you don't want that anymore, then acknowledge there is something that brings these things into your life. And then from that, you change it. You shift your energy, you remove these frequencies, these emotions, whatever it is. What is the root cause why these people or these situations are in your life? And once you really solve that, those things are away. Yeah, they're just out of your life because you learned your lesson, you removed it, and maybe they're still around, but you don't see them, they don't trigger you, and it doesn't have anything to do with you anymore.
And I remember just John Kehoe. I don't know if you know this author. He wrote about subconscious mind, and he said when he was experiencing it, so he was very poor. He went to the woods and lived there for a couple of years and had no money and everything. So he was saying he had only grace, and he said, "I'm abundant in grace." So he saw abundance everywhere, or wealth in our case, wealth everywhere. So if you concentrate your mind, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have much money, more money, just concentrate on the fact that you live in a wealthy world. When you go out, you see how many cars, how many expensive cars there are, how many expensive buildings. It's just permanently building something, and this is huge money. And when you go to grocery shop, it's a huge offer of everything you want. You can
too much actually.
Actually, too much. When you're just looking for a milk, and there are thousands ways of milk, types of milk. Even now, when I drink only with oat milk, you have 5, 6, 10 different oat milks, and you say, "Oh,
I just need one."
I just need one, right?
It's the same with Starbucks. Like, you want this flavor, and then, I'm completely overwhelmed. I just want to have coffee. That's why I never go there. It's just too much sometimes. It's, because even making decisions, right, it consumes a lot of energy.
That was my next question.
Oh, okay. But I'm done with rounding now. How about you?
Me too. I was wondering if you would. Now we are at the next step. We have to add more lines. If you think that you are enough with lines, you don't add anything. If you feel that you have to add somewhere something, then we do that now.
I added just one, and
then you're good now.
It's fine.
Great. So now we are going to the next step, and the next step is the most pleasant one. It's painting. We paint with all colors what you want. Today is an algorithm where we are allowed to paint with any colors. The basic thing here is that 2 cells have to be of one color. 2 cells next to each other, they have to be of one color, just like this.
Okay.
And we have a guest
very special guest here. Yes, Mika.
Yeah, this is my cat.
Beautiful cat. Right. Oh, now she's really coming now to me. Yeah, I feel very honored. She's even sitting on my feet now, and I was told she's very shy.
You see, she feels your energy.
Yes. So, oh wow, and I feel very honored. So
you should, because cats, when they like someone, they are sitting on their feet.
Oh, wow. Oh, Mika, I really love you too. You're so beautiful and such a smart cat. So we were about the decisions, right?
Exactly, about the decision. You wrote that decision making is consuming a lot of energy. And you said that about 20,000 thoughts we take a day per day. Just imagine, every day we subconsciously take around 20,000 decisions. Of course, it's a lot of energy. How and why do decisions take a lot of energy?
Yeah, because that's just the way we were brought up, right? In a way, it's a thought, and then most of the time there follows an action, right? So even the thinking and the evaluating, take some, it's kind of like a computer, like a processor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you just look at ChatGPT, right? You put in
Energy
like a
there.
prompt, and then so the prompt would be, do I eat pasta or risotto today, right?
Mm-hmm. It's also a decision.
Yeah, it's also a decision. Or do I, take an umbrella and today or not? Or which shoes do I put on? There just in the morning, there are kind of millions of decisions, and most of those things, they're done on autopilot, and that's why we are kind of saving energy, because we just do them automatically. And this is on the good side, because we save energy. But on the other side, we always kind of, because our brain is focused on energy saving, we always may take the same decisions, right? We always, drink the cup at the coffee at the same time. We always take the same route to work. Joe Dispenza, always explain it, and it's so
Exactly.
true, right?
It's
and
true.
Because if you take a different route, you have to be, think more. Maybe you're not aware where to
Activate
turn.
your brain.
Yeah, you're activating your brain, but then you need more energy on that, right? And of course, your brain is lazy and says, come on, let's take the same route as every day. And it's the same with all your routines, give us security and makes us feel safe, but they also make us lazy, and so it's always a trade-off. And it's always powerful to, there is this thing to also about longevity, that you at least every day you try something completely new you don't feel comfortable with. And this activates your brain, and then you also get different possibilities on how you can decide. And I think in a way it's also about, as a kid, I really had a lot of problems with making decisions. So it was very difficult for me, because I always wanted to meet the expectations of people around me. And then, of course, it's not about your own decisions. It's you're even consuming more energy, because when being a people pleaser, you always need to
think about
think about what the others expecting from me to fulfill these expectations. So you even consume more energy. And in a way, if you really look behind the scenes and honestly look into it, then I figured out for me that people pleaser, or even having difficulties with making decisions, it's all about self-love. Because that's what it all boils down at the end. We always want to be loved, right? And so many things we are doing, what we are saying, is all about being loved, and that's why we always want to make and accept it, and we want to make the right decisions to not be thrown out of the group, or so. And now and that's also described in the book, right? A powerful method how you can make not real or the right decisions, because there is no right or wrong. Because the most important thing is that you take a decision at all, right? Because if you're not deciding, somebody else decides for you. So it's much more powerful to get back in the driver's seat and make a decision. And I, just because it was so difficult to make decisions, and as an engineer, like then I started working with Excel spreadsheets, like advantages and disadvantages of each option, and evaluate them. And then after a certain time, I felt what was the right decision, and then I took it. And now I can make a decision like this, because now I have developed this tool where I really can connect with my heart or my soul. And it's all about asking, what kind of decisions do you want to take? And I learned about, for me, let's speak about wealth, right? There is always like this short-term and also long-term component, because sometimes it's easier to make a decision which seems for our brain to be the logical decision, to get like a short or quick win, right? But sometimes other decisions are much more powerful in the long term. So it's always good to ask, what's the right decision in the short term? Is this the right decision in the long term? Is this a sustainable decision in the long term? So there are, especially with decision making, there are different aspects. as you can see, it's a very important topic for me.
Mm-hmm.
And now, even if you speak about the supermarket before, with this kinesiological muscle test I developed, where you can figure out, what good decisions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now when I go in the supermarket, and I grab a zucchini or whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
like my system answers immediately, if I should buy it, if it's good to eat, or if it's good to buy because there's a lot of spray on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's also now it's more automatic that when I get a question, I get my body response immediately.
Towards
Yeah.
or mm-hmm.
And
With the standing method.
yeah, with the standing method. And this is so powerful because it's not something from my mind, because decisions from your mind, they're
illogical. They are dead.
Yeah, in a way, our mind it's very powerful because of course it gets our things done, but our mind is always looking in the past and trying to extrapolate a good solution for the future.
Mm-hmm.
But the future, most of the time, it's different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's much more powerful to get answers what's good for you in the future, not because your heart and your soul, they have different informations. Well, what's your what you will do in 5 years, whereas your mind doesn't. And that's why I think these even sometimes you get answers your mind probably doesn't like. Then you always can decide, choose, I want to follow this recommendation or not. But I've noticed most of the time, when I overruled with my mind, say no, it's not logical at all. I don't want to do it. In the long term, looking back, I noticed that the other way would have been so much better. But it's a learning process, and
Exactly.
you have to figure it out yourself.
As I learned in NLP, neuro linguistic programming, there are no mistakes. There is only experience. So if you see it from this point of view, you just learn your lessons and say, okay, next time I'll do better.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have, again, the choice. You can blame yourself for the rest of the life, or you can say, okay, I did it. So I took the lesson, I learned the lesson, and I go on. It's again, thank you.
Oh yeah, that's so powerful. Yeah, and in a way, there is no right or wrong, right? And
yeah. This is what you write also in your book, and I truly agree with it, because what can be right for you can be wrong for the other, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Each has his own map, his own mind, his own experience, beliefs, and so on. So that's why maybe you disagree with your mother, who lived in another period.
Yeah.
And now is a different time. So I think you cannot say, oh, I'll do the way you do, because you really want to help. I don't think that there is a mother who doesn't want to help its own child. But sometimes the way she thinks or does, it's different from the period when you live today. And you cannot do the same thing like they did for 40, 50 years ago.
No, but yeah, I think maybe it's also, but I think I wouldn't. Yeah, this is my possible explanation, but of course there are also older people that are very flexible, and I think it's just about. It's very difficult to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, right? And this is what you think you would do, and you think is the right decision
for you.
Yeah, it's always your personal perspective,
Exactly,
but somebody else, if you're really in the situation, there
you don't know how you handle.
Yeah, and even you're not in the same or exact same situation anyway, because you have a different background, and you are you, and the other person is the other person, right? So you can always, if somebody asks you, then you can always say, I would do it like this, but this is like with my background and with my experience, and it must not be necessarily good
the
for
same
you.
For you, exactly. So I would do like this, but you do how you decide. So at least that person who asked you has a perspective, right? It's like I told my kid also, when she asks me, what should I wear? First question, what do you want to wear? And if it's that or that, I said, well, I would take this blouse, but you decide for yourself. So she has a one perspective, and she had still the place and space to decide for herself.
Yeah, but I think what I notice is, this is a very good question for my daughters. You know, if they ask me, I know already that they already made up their mind, right? But they're not 100% sure. So when I say something, and then they definitely do what they wanted to do anyway. So I think it's just a kind of a process to be clear on their own decision, right?
That's great. It's also great.
Yeah. So
I have a further question. We talked about it a little bit before, but what role do guilt, shame, blame, accusation play in blocking energy and blocking wealth in our case? Can you be?
oh yeah. Actually, this is a very good question, and I think most people are not aware of it. How powerful shame or blame is, because there's this. It's also in the
Guilt.
book. And guilt is this scale of emotions from Dr. Hawkins, so with Dr. David Hawkins, and he has this scale, and it shows that especially guilt, blame, and shame, they are the lowest vibrating frequencies, and what I've noticed is, and we all have it in our system.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed, of course, at the moment it's very popular to meditate, and what I've noticed is that yes, or let's frame it this way: in my world of energy, there we all, we were born with our unique frequency, and when we grow up, all these expectations, beliefs, emotions, they're kind of put on top of our frequency. And when we were 18, or when we are 18, then we have kind of a residual of all of our original frequency, and all these frequencies put on top of it. So we have this residual frequency, and that's what we think it's us, because we just can't remember what our original frequency was. And so you're going through life with this frequency, and depending on how much guilt and shame and whatever is in your system, the lower is this frequency. And of course you can do meditation and raise these frequencies. But what I've noticed is that during this meditation process, you're then in a higher frequency, but as soon as you're back in real life, right, then you fall back down to, because these low vibrating frequencies, they are so powerful and so strong, they're overruling everything, right? And they always draw you back down to where you are right now. And if you and that's why people then invented kind of walking meditation to keep people in this higher state. But for me, it's not sustainable, because the only thing is, to sustainably change your frequency and your energy, you have to remove these low vibrating frequencies from your system. And then you're constantly vibrating on a higher frequency, in a higher state, and then life is so much easier. And so what can you do? In a way, acknowledge that you have this shame and this, and we all, are embarrassed about situations, especially when you're a kid. We are full of, we have situations where we were ashamed, but we didn't do what we were, we wanted to do. We were too weak, or we couldn't do it, or we embarrassed somebody else, or we feel really bad about certain situation. Or something happened to you and we are blaming other people. Why did you do that to me, right? And these are frequencies. The more you let them go, the more you will feel a difference. And because they really always drawing you back, and we all have them. So there is no blame or shame on that. It's just about acknowledging them, looking into it, and changing it. And especially like blame, most of the time you're blaming other people, why didn't the person do that, or why did he say that or did that, and you're carrying on this blame, right? And the other person has long forgotten the whole situation,
But
right?
you're still keeping it in your mind.
And it's in your system. You're burdening yourself. So in a way, letting go blame is not, or same with forgiving, right? It's not about saying that what the other person said or did is right. No, but it's about freeing yourself from the whole situation. Or how long do you want to carry it around?
In your system.
Yeah.
I agree, totally agree. And on this topic, Louise Hay has a great book where she writes about this. And I think you have a sentence that says exactly like this, like holding resentment in your system is like poisoning yourself and hoping that the other will die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Something in the, like this. Yeah. It's just really you are harming yourself because the other person doesn't care or maybe forgot already about it.
It's not important for
and
them.
You are drinking this poison every day, every single day, hoping that he will die. Metaphorically speaking. What about? Yeah,
I'm quite sure you have been working on shame, blame as well. So what changed in your life when you started? I'm quite sure you painted it probably.
Yes, I painted it a lot. It's true, because like you said, I had some stored emotions in my body. There are still points that hurts, but most of it's gone when I realized that I'm keeping this emotion in my body, in my system. I really started every kind of exercises with your standing method, with painting neurography, which helps a lot because you don't really know all the emotions that you have stored in you. You just paint some, you just write some of them and paint. While painting, they all go away to a certain situation. If you paint for shame, for instance, or guilt, then you remember several situations from your life that what you want to
pop up then,
exactly. They really do pop up, and then you worked on that, and parallel, your subconscious mind is so genius that it holds other words that comes while you're writing, and then they are all working out here. You're just painting them away. I am done painting. What about you?
Yeah.
Great. So we are going to the next step. We take the dark marker.
Maybe
and
you want to show it?
Yeah, look how far we are. This is how it looks.
That's our elf.
Like, this is our elf, exactly. And now, because we are painting wealth, so the energy, the line goes up. We want to increase our wealth. So we are painting the line from the left corner to the right, to the up right corner. So it's just like this. You can follow with the lines that you already have, or you can draw new lines. Like this. I'll just finish it and show it to you how it should look like, so that you can paint it as well. You can paint 2, 5 until 6 lines if you feel like it. Okay. But the most important thing is that they don't have to cross themselves. So if I do an rising field line, then I do all in the same direction. I don't do it like cross. So something like this we don't have.
Okay.
Like this, and then like this we don't have. Then it's you have to make the painting again. Great, great. After that, we'll round everything here. And while we are still rounding, I have some more questions.
Oh, wow. How many questions are there? Wow. That's great that there's so much interest.
Yeah. How does self-worth impact one's ability to generate and sustain wealth?
Oh, wow. That's a very good question. I think self-worth is crucial, actually.
I think so too.
And in the aspect of asking yourself, do you even allow yourself that wealth is coming into your life, right? And most of the time, wealth is waiting just around the corner, wants to come you, but you don't even allow yourself. And now you may even say, well, are you crazy? Of course I'm allowing wealth into my life. But what I've noticed, and I figured out no, because maybe there is still blame or self-worth, and I don't even deserve that it's coming.
Exactly, absolutely.
And I don't even, wealth is something, it's about receiving. And most of the time we're so busy in doing or sending out that we're not even in receiving mode, that it comes to us, right? So with the standing method, there are many situations where I tested, I'm ready to receive, and no, I still get a no. So it's a continuous process that you work on. Yeah, but why? And then you can look into it, and then you can change that and remove it, and then you get a bit closer to that you want to receive wealth. But of course, first of all, it's very important, and we did that here with this list, right? That we say what's wealth for us or for you. You need to write it down. What's wealth for you, and then you can check: are you ready to receive it? And if there is a no, then you can start working on what's keeping you from what's keeping you from receiving it. And there will be different layers. And if you're really there, receiving wealth is that you are ready to energetically hold that wealth for a long time, not only for a millisecond, but and these are rich people, they can hold it energetically, but you're probably not there yet because your mind, your emotions, your whole energy system is not ready to it. So it's a process. You need to remove stuff and to get ready to hold it energetically. And you will notice when it's there, then it's probably not even important for you anymore, because it was this journey. And then you can hold it energetically. And that's, I think, the whole process.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I just remember in one of the seminars I took on money, one of the people in the room said, well, give me $1 million now and I'll know what to do with it. And you know what the mentor said? So if you don't have your million now, there is a reason for that, and you cannot hold it yet energetically. So this explains that many want that $1 million or €1 million or whatever, but did you ask yourself, do you deserve this million? Would you be able to hold it energetically? Do you take the responsibility for all this money? This is a lot of money.
Yeah, you have to invest it. You have to know the experience. You can't just put it on your savings account, right?
Exactly.
And so you have to do something with it. And are you ready to really, do you know how to deal with
manage it? So that was the answer. If you don't have your million, then you are not ready. Then there are definitely some beliefs, some limiting beliefs that are stopping you from having it. And most of it is fear.
I think it's not only, it can be fear. Yeah, you're right. And of course it can be fear, but it's also then that you need to feel safe to deal, to work with that much money. You need to know, are you investing it? Are you, spending it? Or, how are you going to use it? And because if you I can imagine if tomorrow you open up your bank account and there is 1 million there, you panic because you don't even know what to do with it. Yeah. And it's the same with if you want to move somewhere, right, with in a completely new area, right, and maybe there are only rich people there. It's you feel uncomfortable if you are not on the same level, right?
Exactly.
And so you need to grow into that so it feels natural for you, and then you can really deal with it. Yeah,
absolutely.
And then the house in this area is popping up and you're ready for it.
I agree with you. I totally agree.
So what's next here?
Yeah, then
We move to the next question.
exactly. Before we move to the next question, we are doing the last, almost last step. We're taking the black marker again, and we are doing a big circle. When you look at your picture, you almost see it where it should be. You can also underline one of your existing circles, or you can do it differently, a totally new. So it's up to you. I love these black markers. They are quick, and you just don't have to do it
Very
3
powerful.
times. So, and the last, one of the last questions also, how can someone tune their personal energy to align with financial opportunities or abundance? Talking about energy and with your words, tuning into the energy.
I think you can tune in every time, because looking at quantum science, in a way, it says that all possibilities, and for me, it's kind of like a huge computer program. So you can always choose which way you go down there, but all the other possibilities, and every time you make a decision, the computer programs recalculate everything, and shows you all the next options, right? And so for me, in a way, it's the same. So whatever the all other possibilities, there is the possibility existing that you have this 1 million euro or Swiss francs, right? But you're just not on this timeline at the moment. So, but you can tune in and you can connect, you can visualize it, or you can just, feel into the frequency. How would you feel? How would you be? How would you walk? Where would you stay and eat and sit? And how would you sit? You wouldn't be the same person exactly
How
as you
would you
said.
behave?
Yeah, how, as you said before, if you would already be that person, the 1 million would be already on your bank account, right? And so it's all about that feeling, tuning in, and how does it feel? Do you really want that? Does it feel comfortable? And then work on it. And then the more often you tune in, the more realistic it becomes. Yeah. Because then you're really kind of letting go all this stuff, and shifting the energies that way that you can hold it energetically, and that you be that person. And then all of a sudden it will be there.
Yeah, and then suddenly it is there. So after we did the circle, the big circle, we again have to round every corner that appeared.
Yeah. So how do you tune in?
Mostly, I do a ritual for myself. So, for instance, I bought a very expensive cup for me, from which I drink my coffee.
Oh, wow.
So to be like this is remembering me that I am abundant, that I am well.
Very cool.
So it's like symbolistic is always working, when you have like something reminding you every day that you are wealthy. Then I do my meditation. I'm not really that good at it, let's say, but I combine it with dancing. So in the morning, I kind of meditate, but I'm dancing, and I have something on my ears, listening parallel to.
Oh, very cool.
Affirmations, mostly from Louise Hay, because I love her and I love how she thinks. And while I'm dancing here, doing my morning Zumba or yoga, whatever I'm in the mood of, then I'm hearing these affirmations.
Very powerful.
So you are concentrating on your movements, and this way, in my opinion, your brain is switching off, and then these new affirmations are coming automatically into your brain. And also, which I didn't do before, and I'm doing now it often, because we were told in several seminars, like go in these expensive shops and try things. And for me, sure, I couldn't at first. I couldn't go in these shops like Louis Vuitton or like Chanel, because my mind was set up, if I have money I can go and buy something, but just to look at it, no. So
Very cool, love it.
and one thing that convinced me to do that was because the mentor said, you are not going into these shops just for fun, but just to see how you feel it. And if you get in 5 minutes, you are out and feeling trembling and all the negative emotions, then you know at least on what you have to work.
Yes, that's so true.
So that's why this was really difficult for me at the beginning, even when I bought my car to go in this fancy shops and even to have a test drive, if you don't intend to buy the car new. So I went there, I took the test drive just to see how I feel in this car, what
And
kind
how
of
was it?
emotions. And when I sat in this white BMW, I said, this is my car.
Oh,
But
very
I
cool.
didn't want to do it to buy it new, because that I don't think that, and everybody says it's not an investment. It's a negative thing to buy just a car new. So I bought it not new, but I'm really happy with the acquisition, and it's my dream car, which I dreamt for 10 years about it. I still remember I was living in Germany, and I started only with this visualization thing. So I printed this car on a piece of paper, put it in my office drawer, and each day I was opening the drawer, I was seeing this car. But I remembered it after 10 years when I bought the car.
Oh, wow, very cool.
So I put the seed 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea how could I buy such an expensive car at that time.
Very cool, congratulations.
Thank you. Today you see such cars everywhere, and it's maybe not the most expensive car, but for me it's a car. It's a growing.
It's your car, yeah.
It's a really different level of wealth.
Very cool. Love it. Such a beautiful story. And you're such a role model for your daughter as well, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are testing the law of attraction and the positive thinking and changing really good. And I have some more questions about overcoming burnout, because I think it's a really actual topic today. How can professionals overcome burnout to maintain the energy necessary for wealth creation? Especially we women today who want to have everything under control, and we have our own business and work hard and have almost no family time. What would you advise for these women?
I think you're completely right, and I think women maneuvered, myself speaking, also maneuvered ourselves in such a really energy consuming situation, right? Because we, at least, there was also my story being an electrical engineer, and, in the men's world, I always had to show I'm better, smarter, faster, more competent. And this, of course, then it came part of my personality to always show up, and I could fix everything, I could do everything, but of course, it will cost energy, right?
Yeah.
And so, and we are now so in this role that, we want to have our career, or we want to run a business, make an impact in the world, of course, and we have our family, we want to be there for our kids, best mom in the world. We have a spouse or partner, we have aging parents, a community we are in, we are all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's sometimes logical that we are then just running out of energy because we are not recharging, and that's what I also show women, how you can, you plug in your phone every evening or whatever. When battery is running low, you plug it in. It's just normal. Why don't you plug in yourself and recharge, right? And of course, there are different ways. In my book, there are many exercises where you can recharge within 3 minutes. You can do it at work, go to the restroom, or you can go into nature or paint or go swimming or dancing, whatever makes your heart sing. Do it and recharge, and then you're there for others and for making a real impact in not only in your life but in the lives of so many others. And that's what I think is so urgent, is to really know what you're using your energy for, because it's your most valuable currency. And yeah, you can spend it like money, you can spend it everywhere, but like then there is a moment you're just running out of it, and then you need to prioritize. Same as when you want to create wealth, you need to, where I'm saving money, where I'm spending money. If I want to buy this BMW or whatever, then the money needs to come from somewhere, and you need to say, I'm not doing this because I'm saving the money. And in the long run, you can get what you're dreaming of. And it's the same with your energy. I know you can do everything, we all know, but you don't have to. You don't have to prove. Choose what you really want to do and use your energy for that. And then I think you will have more energy for doing that. And I just want to share one personal story as well, because I'm still working in the corporate world. And of course, we were very busy with the energy crisis, especially in Switzerland, security of supply. And now this was this blackout in Spain and in Portugal, which didn't have an impact on Central Europe. But so there is something going also on. And there are so many similarities between blackout, because then people first time people notice, yes, without electric energy our social life just breaks down, because nothing works. And it's the same with our personal energy. We keep spending and using it, just completely normal, and then there is this breakdown, and then you realize, oh wow, there's just no energy for those things I want to do anymore. And there's so many similarities. And but what I wanted to share is the story about that. I thought, this energy crisis was a beginning, and then it's kind of, fading out. But apparently the pace at the office really increased constantly. There were new laws coming in place. I had to take on so many new activities and tasks, and I didn't get any new people. So we had to prioritize. And what I've noticed, like, there was a mass of emails, right? Like every day there was, the average, if you're working as a manager, you normally get about, I don't know, around 200 emails. It was much more. There were 300, 350 per day. And then every day I was all day in meetings. So when should I answer my emails, and when should I even think and work, right? And it was getting more and more and more. And I thought, and then people said, you need to speak with your boss and whatever. And then I said, wait a minute, it's in my life. So it does have something to do with me. So I sat really down and started working, and it was a longer process than I expected. But I think now, last 2 weeks was the first time I really felt relief that this pressure was not so strong anymore. I could really, talk without running from one meeting to the next. When I was in the office, I could think, I could strategically work. And so, but I had to work really a lot. It took me almost 5 months to really work on it. So all this pressure, you can remove that from your life. We think busy is the new, amazing or important, but it's not. Busy drains a lot of your energy. And if you feel you don't need to be busy to be appreciated and get a lot of things done. No, it's the contrary. You can make a higher impact if you're
Relaxing.
centered, and your productivity is much higher. But there was a lot of external pressure, and I worked on it, and now it's the first time I really notice it's getting better, and so can do you. But it's not from one day to the next.
Yeah, so really, from my experience as well, when you think yourself that you are so busy and you have so much, and meetings and emails and to-dos and endless to-do lists, then you really do that. And you really have that. You attract it even more and more. And then you sit silent and say, okay, tomorrow is also a day, I'll manage it. And you take it step by step, then you're managing it. You're prioritizing things, and you're not so overwhelmed with everything that comes. It's really everything in our mind.
Yeah, but I think for me it was not in my mind only, it was more energetically. Why I was kind of I saw it as like energetically, I was pulling all these emails into my life subconsciously, of course, not with my mind, right? And so I was, why do I, to feel more seen or more appreciated? What is the main reason behind it? Why is this tons of work and emails coming into my life? Because I feel if I'm working long hours, I feel more seen. I feel more valuable. It was has something to do with me, and it's not true. I'm same valuable if I'm working 50 emails or 500. It doesn't make any difference. I wanna be the best leader for my team, and I couldn't do that. So that's why I had to shift really many things that were deep in my system.
That's a really good thought. And the final thought. What is the most crucial piece of advice you would offer to someone seeking to change their energy, to change their financial life?
Oh, wow. I think there's only one sentence. It's your energy is your business card.
Your energy is your business card.
I think it's exactly what I said before. You attract everything into your life, and if you want to have wealth in your life and it's not there yet the way you want it,
and concentrate on it.
Yeah, concentrate what you want and concentrate on. So in one side, I think you really need to be honest. What's the situation you're in right now? Really take a responsibility. If you like it or not, take on responsibility. That's how it is right now. And then you need to, for my advice, I'm doing two things. I look in the future. What do I want to achieve? Where do I want to be? What do I want to have in my life, right? And then connect with this energy, and then bring this energy back into the here and now. And as we spoke about, you go into these shops, you connect with these energies where you want to be, and then you do a step back into your past and figure out what's in there holding me back to reaching my future. And then you kind of work on all the things you want to let go, remove all the emotions, change your belief system, change your values, whatever is there. And this is a continuous process. You go into the future, connect with the energy, bring it here, look back, why I'm not in this energy, what's holding me back, remove that. And so it's a continuous process. And I think this is the whole miracle from my side. It's just, it's, I wouldn't call it work. Yeah, but I would call it, it's a process. And if your intrinsic motivation is so big that you want to achieve that thing, it keeps you going. And if it's not, then maybe it's not your real thing you want to achieve, and then it's something else. But if this is something you really want to achieve, it keeps you going back and forth, and shifting your energies, and then all of a sudden you will be the person that can energetically hold it, and then it's there. And then you might find out, actually, it's not that you don't, it's not that important for you anymore, because you already shifted so much, and then it's natural for you. As now with you, your car, right? And it's just natural for you, and then you start all over again, right? And that's where we are.
So to summarize, first know what you want, set the goal, right? Then tune with it, just see what the energy of the goal is, where do you want to come? first take over the responsibility, and then just shift, remove everything that you don't need and put
that's holding you back. That keeps you stuck in the situation.
So you have the everything you need now.
That's the
you have the steps, and here is the guide that has everything. So it's really a guide that takes your hand and step by step shows you how to transform your energy if you really are doing it. So if you're not doing it, you just don't buy it. If you are willing to change, then you can buy it and really do, because the magic word is here, doing, and not
exactly. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Your energy doesn't change, but just by reading about it. Of course, but I can say some things maybe shift because the book has a very strong energy itself. So sometimes just by small things can shift just by reading it. But if you really want to achieve big goals, it's up to you to do the exercises, and I can only recommend it. And maybe you don't want to do them every day, or some of them they will stick with you. Some you try once or twice. And that's what I also recommend in the book. It's a guide, as you're saying.
It's a guide.
It gives you an idea how you can do it, but please take it and make it your own. Adapt it, change it. It should work for you. And you're special. You're a very special person. And not all the words or the process make work best for you the way they are written in there. So then you just adapt and make it yours. And then it's so much easier. And it's fun. I love experimenting and trying out new things. And when I listen to podcasts, it triggers so many things. And then, how is it with my system? And then I change and shift. So it's play, it's joy. I really love it. And that's so self-development and personal energy management is most of the time, not always, but most of the time, it's really fun and joy.
The whole growing up process is fun if you see it like fun, and if you want to experience it, it's fun. But if you say, oh, it's hard, then it will be hard.
Yes, definitely.
So for those of you who finished, we have already finished, you can stylize it with pencils. And the most important thing is, please write 20 words in 2 minutes at the end when you are finished with your drawing. And if you when you look at your drawing and you liked it, then it's ready. I would really appreciate the feedback after you write, what you felt the next days. It could happen that you get some you can find money, you can get a bonus, you can receive something, you can have a raise, or you can just get a coffee from someone. So please consider everything like wealth, like
exactly.
A sign from the universe that the process has started. And as you said at the beginning, it's only the beginning. So just please draw more, and then just give a feedback in the comments below when we will put this video on YouTube or in the podcast. Questions are very welcome. I hope you enjoyed it, and we wish you a wonderful Sunday.